A poor driver murders his employer. He steals a bag full of cash, runs away, starts his own company, and somehow millions of readers end up supporting him. Not because they approve of what he did, but because they understand why he did it. And that's what makes The White Tiger one of the most controversial books ever written about India. Because beneath the murder mystery lies a much bigger question. Can an honest poor person become rich in India? And if the answer is no, what happens next? Hello and welcome to India Unfiltered. Today we're talking about a novel that won the Booker Prize, but more importantly, a novel that asks a question many Indians still struggle to answer. Balram Halwai is born in a poor village. No powerful family, no connections, no wealth, no special opportunities. Just another child among millions trying to survive. But Balram is different. Not because he's smarter than everyone else, but because he pays attention. He notices things. Things most people ignore. For example, he notices that the people who constantly talk about honesty don't always practice it. He notices that powerful people break rules all the time, and somehow they still succeed. Politicians, businessmen, local officials. Everyone seems to have their own shortcut. So Balram starts asking a dangerous question. If the people at the top don't play by the rules, why should the people at the bottom? Now, before we go further, let's talk about something called the Indian dream. We've all heard it. Study hard, work hard, get a good job, build a better life. And to be fair, for many people, it works. Every year, students crack IIT. Young entrepreneurs build companies. Families rise into the middle class. India has created opportunities that didn't exist a generation ago. But here's the uncomfortable part. If hard work alone guarantees success, why do so many hardworking people remain poor? Think about it. The construction worker, the farmer, the delivery rider, the driver. Many of them work harder than most corporate executives. Yet their lives often change very little. Why? That's the question Balram cannot stop thinking about. Eventually, he becomes a driver for a wealthy family. For the first time, he gets a front row seat to a completely different India. An India of luxury apartments, expensive cars, private schools, political connections. An India where problems disappear with a phone call. And the more he observes this world, the more he realizes something. Opportunity is not distributed equally. Some people begin the race 10 meters from the finish line. Others start with weights tied to their ankles. And suddenly the idea of a level playing field begins to look like a myth. One of the most famous ideas in The White Tiger is something Balram calls the Rooster Coop. Imagine a cage full of chickens. They can see other chickens being slaughtered. They know exactly what's happening. Yet they stay where they are. No rebellion, no escape, no resistance. Balram believes society works in much the same way. People stay trapped inside systems they know are unfair. Not because they like those systems, but because they're afraid of what happens if they leave. And honestly, this idea isn't just about poverty. How many people stay in careers they hate? How many stay silent when they know something is wrong? How many abandon their dreams because failure seems too risky? Maybe the Rooster Coop isn't a place. Maybe it's a mindset. As the story continues, Balram becomes increasingly frustrated. Not just with poverty, not just with inequality, but with hypocrisy. He watches powerful people demand honesty from others while bending rules themselves. He watches people preach morality while quietly benefiting from corruption. And eventually, he reaches a conclusion. The system was never designed for people like him. Now, whether that's true or not is open for debate. But what matters is that Balram believes it. And once a person stops believing, the system can help them. Their behavior starts to change. Then comes the moment that changes everything. The decision that transforms Balram from a poor driver into something else entirely. A decision that readers still argue about today. Some people see him as a criminal. Others see him as a rebel. Some see him as a victim of circumstance. Others see him as an opportunist. And maybe that's why the novel remains so powerful. Because it refuses to give easy answers. When his employer's wife kills a child in a hit-and-run accident, the family pressures Balram to take the blame and sign a false confession. Although he ultimately refuses, the incident forces him to confront a brutal reality. To the people he serves, his life is expendable if it protects theirs. Convinced that loyalty will only keep him trapped, he eventually murders his employer, steals a bag of money, and uses it to start his own business. The novel then asks a disturbing question. Was Balram's rise a story of entrepreneurship or a story of liberation through betrayal? Here's where things get really interesting. The White Tiger was published years ago, and India today is not the same India Balram grew up in. Today, a teenager in a small town can learn almost anything online. A creator can build a global audience from a smartphone. A freelancer can work for international clients. A student can access knowledge that once belonged only to elite institutions. The barriers are lower than they've ever been. But have they disappeared? Not entirely. Family background still matters. Networks still matter. Money still matters. Location still matters. The rules have changed. The game remains complicated. In the end, The White Tiger isn't really about murder. It isn't even about crime. It's about opportunity. It's about what happens when ambition collides with barriers. It's about the gap between the country we want India to be and the country many people still experience every day. And maybe the most important question isn't whether Balram was right or wrong. Maybe the real question is this: how many Balrams still exist today? And if they do, have we given them a better path forward? Or are we simply asking them to remain inside the Rooster Coop? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring the ideas, contradictions, and uncomfortable questions shaping modern India, subscribe to India Unfiltered. I'll see you in the next one.